should consider SEO as the profitable backbone of a business. People see an ad, they search the brand, or they search the product. And if you're not ranked at the top for that product, your competitor might steal the sale.
If they need to make a sales like the next week and their business is really reliant upon that and they don't run any paid marketing, then SEO might not be the go-to.
Absolutely. If a business is a sinking ship, SEO is not the silver bullet. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of DTC SEO Agency podcast. We don't have a name for it yet, but I'm sure it will be absolutely awesome. Today we have Olivia. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Olivia. I'm co-founder and COO of DTC SEO Agency. I have a background with a lot of management. I'm an engineer, and I just love to ensure that we deliver on time.
Excellent, fantastic. Keeping everyone in alignment, keeping the deliverables coming for the clients, and all that good stuff. My name's Thomas Phillips. We've been doing SEO specifically for e-com and all kinds of other realms for the last 18 or so years. We've done over $70 million in revenue from organic search specifically. Over that period of time, built, scaled and sold over 16 different brands. And now we're at the point of running the agency and our own brands in parallel. We're using our existing team that we've had for many years to rank lots of different websites, to now help out other e-commerce brands and see big benefits from a traffic and sales standpoint. 99% of the sites that we work on are on Shopify, which is excellent. We have world-class team in terms of developers, technical SEOs,
Link
builders, digital PR. We have every single thing that we need to have a successful campaign. Cool. And as this is the first podcast, we're just going to be jumping straight in. Olivia's got a bunch of different questions.
Yeah.
So take it away.
So in this first episode, we're going to go through what to consider in SEO, some basics. Also, when you're going to recruit an SEO agency or professional, some things to think about. And as always, we're going to share some golden nuggets and some practical hands-on advice that you can start with straight away.
Oh, yes.
So you've already introduced yourself. Why should a company consider SEO?
You should consider SEO as the profitable backbone of a business. So I think the perfect scenario is if you are already scaling with ads. We're speaking from a e-commerce perspective here. You're already scaling with ads, and you want more consistent income. You want another traffic source that then translates into profitable sales. So when you turn your ads off for whatever reason, or you have a funny period, or your ad account gets banned, whatever the case may be, you have that backup, reliable sales channel that converts very high because someone is actively searching for that product, as opposed to push marketing where they're being shown that and trying to be sold on it. So that is 100% why people should consider it. The other side of it as well is it works in tandem with paid advertising. So a lot of people, and I'm sure as people listening have experienced, you see an ad, you then go, I'm not 100%, let me go Google it. Or let me go to my search engine, whichever one you use, and you search it up. At that point, you then look at the ads, pay-per-click at the top, and you look at the organic, and then you make your decision based off of that. You might then search up reviews after. And again, you're doing a Google search or whatever it might be to find the reviews around that to then make your purchase decision. And what might happen, or what does happen, is people see an ad, they search the brand, or they search the product. And if you're not ranked at the top for that product, your competitor might steal the sale. So you have basically bought them a customer by not ranking first for your product. So that is a huge piece. There's so many advantages of doing SEO. And For some reason, a lot of people brush it under the rug, so to speak. But we're here to say it needs to be a lot more emphasis on it.
So why do you think people brush it under the rug?
I think because it's not a instant return. As in, I turn ads on and the next day, a few hours later, I start getting traffic in. Now that may not necessarily turn into a sale, and as we know with other ad agencies, they normally say 2 to 3 months, give us 90 days or so, and then we can start to dial things in. And again, it's very similar with SEO. So who we love to take on as our ideal customer profile is an e-commerce brand that has an existing site, they have an existing product, they might have been around for a good few years, they might have had some digital PR that has naturally come in terms of link building, that we can then build on top of. So what we look for specifically is that striking distance keywords, like middle of page 1, middle of page 2, because if we can move them up from, say, 10th, which gets around 2 or 3% of the clicks, up to first, which gets 40% of the clicks, that is a huge jump. And we have case studies showing that we can do that in a very short period of time, within that first 90 days, sometimes within 30 days, which is nuts. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, I think the more people who understand that, the more brand owners, the more CMOs who understand that,
Yeah.
the more emphasis they would put on SEO, because it is possible.
So it's more of an investment, a long-term footprint, building out the SEO, and a complementary to any Google ads, Facebook ad, any paid marketing, basically.
Yeah, and you can lower your reliance on paid traffic, especially pay-per-click with Google. Because when we get that data from the ad agency, from the pay-per-click info, we can then go, okay, this is exactly the page that we know is converting for this specific keyword. So that is a tick in the box for us. We can rank that a hell of a lot higher, because a lot of people scroll past the ads and click on organic. So then there is less reliance on the paid up at the top, which is excellent. So you can lower your budgets and reallocate back into SEO, which then boosts up your profits a lot more.
Excellent. And you touched a bit on that, when a company should invest in SEO, like who our ideal customer is. But to explore a bit on that, what are other scenarios when a company should invest in SEO?
So another scenario where a company should invest in SEO is right at the infancy, right at the inception stage. So literally right at the start. So if you build out your e-commerce store in the correct way, with the correct architecture, the full keyword research on the collection pages and the product pages, and everything is built out so that Google can easily crawl the website and understand exactly what each page is about and what it should rank for, you get a massive jump on the competition by doing so. So we also work with a lot of newer brands to build out that architecture initially so that they stand a much better chance of ranking long term. And with a brand new website, we always say to clients, 6, 12, even up to 24 months, it's going to take for you to see a significant ROI because of Google's algorithm and depending on the competition. So low competition niches, like new emerging markets, will be less competition and easier to rank, meaning you need less pages and less links to compete for those keywords. Something that is a lot older, like a niche that has been around for a long time, that is highly profitable, is usually a hell of a lot more competitive naturally. And you need a lot more power, a lot more reputation, and a lot more links with Google to be able to build that. And that is why a brand new website can't rank for, I don't know, trainers on day one.
Yeah.
You have to build up the reputation, which takes time with Google, which is why we love to work with brands that already have a good reputation with Google even though they don't realize it.
Yeah. And we do also see a lot of clients coming on and that they haven't optimized their site from the get-go. They've built up a lot of pages and just put titles that they think sounds good or fun, but they don't actually align with like an actual keyword that they should rank for. And then it takes a lot of time for us to recalibrate that and then to actually rank for the right keywords. So that's also why someone should consider that in the beginning when they're building out their site.
100%.
Cool. And in which scenarios then should a company not invest in SEO?
Yes, also a great thing. So when we get on our first discovery call with a potential client, that is when we quickly are able to work out if they're a good fit for SEO or not. When they are not a good fit for SEO is normally when there is no search volume for the particular keywords that they have. So they might be so unique in their product that no one is actually searching for their product. So let's say it's something that is completely custom made, where all the products are completely custom and no one is actually searching for those specific things that they're creating because they're so ad hoc. They are not a good fit for SEO because naturally no one is searching for that product in the first place.
Yeah.
Therefore, ranking on Google, you wouldn't be able to rank for anything, you know.
And that's also why I see like paid marketing is more building up awareness about products. You're like pushing the product in their face. But once there is a demand for it and a market for it, that's when SEO comes in as a very strong traffic source that you can actually use for your business.
Yeah, and that's the other point as well, is that we have some clients that are willing to invest more in the long term because they're the market leader for their particular product right now. And we can see that the search volume is starting to increase. They're a market leader in an emerging category. And because they're making so much cash from paid ads and basically creating that demand, that product that the person didn't know they needed, we're able to capitalize early so that in 1-2 years' time, they are so freaking powerful that everyone else is late to the boat. Everyone's late to the party. They're so powerful that they cannot be knocked off that top position. So in that sense, it makes sense for them to invest in the future of where they see that going. So there's a few different buckets with things really. But we're very candid and upfront with said client first, like, yes.
And there's also another scenario where we also face a few leads coming in where they don't have the investment, they don't have the money, and they need to do a very quick turnaround. You know, obviously in that scenario, if they need to make a sales like the next week and their business is really reliant upon that and they don't run any paid marketing, I would say SEO is not the first thing to invest in. Like that you need to start making sales, maybe start doing paid ads if you're in that scenario where you need to turn the business around right now. Then SEO might not be the go-to.
Absolutely. Yeah, if a business is a sinking ship, SEO is not the silver bullet. I think is the main thing there. We had a client that came to us in a similar scenario. However, their organic traffic had been diving since kind of June, July-ish time. And we since found out that it's actually a huge technical error that's on their site that a previous SEO had actually actioned and then reverted. So Olivia knows exactly which client this is. So in that instance, yes, we are confident we can recover their traffic and then take it to the next level. So sometimes there is maybe a silver bullet with things, but that was really a different scenario.
So the different scenarios then, to summarize it. Okay, so it might not be a fit for a company where it isn't a market for the product yet. It's a new product. There's no search demand. And it might not be a fit for a client where they haven't had success in SEO before and dropped. It's rather that they don't have the budget right now and they need to really turn the business around. But there's positive scenarios for a business where they really can leverage and perform well with SEO is when they have a really good solid product. They want to invest in it long term as well to be like the leader and dominate the market for it. And yeah, it's a complement to paid ads. So
Absolutely.
you scoop up all the investment you're already doing into paid ads when they're searching for a brand. That's when you're there, when they're actually looking for you.
Yeah, and the other side of it as well is that you can do an SEO only site, which is traditionally what we've built. We have not done paid ads. So in that instance, you're effectively picking up all of the traffic that the paid marketers are paying for. So by ranking and not doing paid ads, you're able to capitalize on those big spends and those big budgets and scoop up just searching for straight off of Facebook, Instagram, maybe. So that is another avenue with that.
Cool. So we've talked a little bit about the value of SEO, when, who it is for, etc. So when it comes to then the actual investment in SEO, like hiring an agency or professional, what are some red flags to consider when hiring someone?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for one person on their own, like that just, it does not exist. No single person is able, without a separate team, to be able to do everything so efficiently and to the level that you need to do it. Like each of our teams within our team specialize in something very specific, whether that be technical SEO, digital PR, like how many years learning have we had to go through to get to the point where we can get links from Forbes, Martha Stewart, Real Homes, Realtor, Real Self, all of these different publications. So having one single SEO person is usually not going to get you very far. And usually an SEO, what they mainly work on is on-site. So they only mainly work on, let's create you a whole bunch of content, or let's optimize this page slightly, or whatever the case may be. But they don't focus on link building, they don't focus on digital PR, they don't focus on the technical aspect. They might do a technical audit, but they don't implement it because they don't fully understand the intricacies of Shopify, as an example. Like our Shopify Plus expert is freaking awesome. She knows exactly where to go in, exactly how to do things, and exactly what to action, because we've now done this so many times and we've seen the benefits from it. So I would say that's a huge red flag if you're looking for one individual person. They say they might be an expert, but if they don't have the whole team to back it up and really the expertise, that is a huge red flag. And I think that link building as a separate thing is a huge red flag if it's done in the wrong way. So as we say to clients, there's 3 different buckets. There's links that have a negative impact, aka the website that is linking to yours is very spammy. It might be ranking for black hat related adult terms. It might have a ridiculously spammy link profile. It might have traffic that's all coming from a country that you don't want traffic coming from. It's going to send all the wrong signals to Google about your website. So that is the first bucket that we absolutely avoid. Bad, spammy backlinks. The second bucket is neutral. The link that you get doesn't do anything. Again, terrible ROI. We don't want that. It's really the final bucket where we invest so much time into looking at the link profile, looking at the traffic. Is the traffic going up or is it going down? What is the power of the overall site? What is it ranking for? All of these different things, like what is the relevancy? Does it have casino articles? Does it have Bitcoin? All of these random things that we want to avoid, so we get the highest ROI from every single link for the client. And it's really that final bucket that our team invests so much time into prior to getting the link. So that as a separate point of like, you can't just go and buy 100 links off of Fiverr and expect it to be successful. You know, that is going to be the first bucket, the spam bucket that could have a very negative impact on your site. So big red flag from that point of view.
And also, if you hire one person and they are not qualified enough as an SEO, they could even damage your website. And we have seen that happening, where we have now actually to go step in and revert what they've done and hope, and we do believe that this website will recover from it.
Absolutely.
But it's a lot of work from our end, and also a lot of lost money for the client. Which
100%.
And that's one person alone that has making poor decisions.
Yes.
So,
poor, uninformed decisions, and they've just gone ahead with things that have truly a detrimental impact on the site. Like, if we didn't get the information from the client that we needed, I was thinking about how are they going to come out of this by buying another domain name and having to try and 301 or try and do something to try and recover their traffic from this huge blunder that this previous SEO had made on the website. So save your time, do it right first.
yeah. So the red flag is relying on one SEO person and maybe also not really checking what they're doing, right? We have a lot of clients that has hired someone and they're like, oh, I don't know what they did. They were an SEO expert and they did everything on their own. So that is definitely a red flag. I'd say a second one is sometimes it's 360 marketing agencies.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of clients that we meet that have been burned by 360 marketing agencies, because basically they don't specialize in anything. They're kind of decent or half good, if you're willing to say that, on all aspects, which is basically not going to give you the results that you really want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And the other thing that we see a lot is development agencies that offer SEO. Now, the level of SEO that we've experienced with development agencies has been much to leave to the imagination, if that's the right term. Yeah. The most basic SEO, which you can't call SEO, to be honest. But yeah, I think, again, that's a really big thing. Like, if there's a company who don't specialize in something specifically, they're offering that as a service, that in itself should be a red flag.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. And we are coining this term ROSI, return on SEO investment, as a way to track performance, etc. Now, let's say you've hired an SEO agency, and as a client, how do you ensure that they are doing a good job? So perhaps going into a little bit of the ROSI term, like what would you say around that?
Absolutely. Return on SEO investment. At the end of the day, SEO is an investment. It's not a cost associated with it. Up the asset, which is your domain name, that is your brand. So that domain name value that you have built up through link building, through technical SEO, through the content that you've been adding, that website now gets traffic on its own, independent of ads or whatever else. So when you're analyzing the investment, the ROI from SEO, one thing that we have in our dashboard, Google Analytics, organic search revenue specifically. So a client can clearly see, okay, how much in the last 7 days, the last 30 days, the last 90 days, and overall. And how does that compare to my total income? And you can then see very clearly, okay, what has my revenue been? And you already know what your cost or your investment amount of SEO is. So you're able to do a simple calculation. Am I up? Am I down? What's going on with things? Very, very clear.
And so the people listening to this podcast, this is something that you can go in and check right now through tools that is already available for you. So if you have an SEO agency working on your website, do check that, ensure to go in and look at what is the organic traffic and revenue and how is that going, how is that trending, for instance. And also another aspect of just ranking random keywords, we've seen that a lot as well. Some clients come in and they think it's all about blog articles, and then you rank for keywords that might not always result in a purchase.
Absolutely. That's a very, very good point. So just two things there. So I urge everyone to log into their Google Analytics. Most Shopify stores have it set up. Go into landing pages and then select a filter that is organic search traffic. Go back and edit that and then only select organic search, because it will pull up organic video, it will pull up organic social. You don't want anything else to muddy the water. Then look at that figure over a certain time period, and that will be the approximate income from organic search traffic. Now, this is not 100% bulletproof of a way of doing it, because when you compare Shopify income overall to Google Analytics income, most of the time it's like 10 to even sometimes 20% difference, as in Google Analytics reports almost 20% lower than what Shopify has actually pulled in from online sales. So that is a separate point in itself to consider. So unfortunately, we are constantly underreporting. It is what it is. The second side of things, what was the second part?
So it's the keywords that you're ranking for, so you might have an agency today and they might be like, well, we're bringing you all this traffic. Look at all the blog articles. Your site is doing so well with organic traffic. We have done our job, right? We do hear that a lot, and there's a bit of a fear from some clients coming in about that, are we actually going to make sales?
Absolutely. And that is why we focus on commercial and transactional intent keywords for e-commerce brands, because that's where they're going to get the biggest ROI. What we find with e-commerce stores specifically, especially with AI now coming in, is that question-based blog posts don't have the same impact that they used to. We're not necessarily just wanting to get a load of traffic in, because that doesn't result in a sale. So what we look at is keywords that are kind of one step above the sale. So the question for that blog post, might be something specific, and the solution to that is the client's product.
Yeah.
And that way we're able to get additional traffic in through blog posts and blog content, but then translate that into a sale, while still building out the relevancy on Google. The more pages and information we have about their exact product, the more relevancy that we have overall, and the topical authority increases in Google, which means that we can rank for more pages easier in the long term. So a combination of all of that together is extremely important. But for most clients, what we focus on for e-commerce brands is collection pages and product pages, because that brings the fastest ROI ASAP. Some SEO agencies flip it on their head and they do 95% of the work with blog content, which in our opinion is not the best way of going for e-commerce specifically.
Cool. So to check actually if you have an existing SEO agency and if they're performing well, do check the organic revenue and ensure to check that yourself as well. We have seen agencies like over-reporting in different spaces before, because everybody want to take credit of the sale, right? But ensure that you check that yourself. Also ensure to check their work. Are they creating more blog articles, and are they going after the right keywords for your actual product and business to make a sale? So those are two critical points to consider. And then, as we touched upon previously, are they doing all the aspects of SEO? Like, Are they doing the technical fixes? Are they doing a bit more transactional blog articles? Are they doing optimizing the product pages, the collection pages, etc.? And are they building very good, strong, high quality links?
Yeah, and I think just going back to another red flag thing real quick, we know of another SEO agency who we shall not name, who claim to build 40 plus links per month for a grand total of $3,000 or so dollars, including every other aspect of their team. When I heard that, I thought, how on earth is that even possible? 40 links in a month, plus everything else for $3,000. Big red flag. When we start digging into their client sites, we find that, and when I spoke to their sales guys, that they have a big PBN. Now, what is a PBN? PBN is a private blog network. One of the shadiest things that a lot of black hat SEOs do to reduce their cost and enable them to rank in more black hat niches, right? So essentially what it is you own the entire network of blogs that you are linking from. So they own the network of sites that they're linking from their own websites to the client's websites, in the hopes that that passes power across to those sites. And that's how they're able to build so many links on a monthly basis for such a small amount. There is a huge, huge issue with that though, because Google actively goes out and tries to find PBN networks, link farms, all these kind of things, because they don't want people to game the algorithm like they are. So at some point, Google can come along, and if there's a big enough footprint of those PBNs, that private blog network, it can wipe out and de-index every single one of those websites in that network. And the side effect, or the outcome of that, is that all the websites that they were linking to, all of a sudden, lose 2 legs off of a table, essentially. So if you had a table, you took 2 legs off, what's going to happen? It's going to fall to the ground. And that's exactly what happens with your traffic. So it is an insane risk to use PBNs, especially on a client's website, which is absolutely nuts. So I think a really, really big thing around that is look at the links that the SEO agency is getting for you. What do they look like? What is the power? What is the traffic? Look at it overall. We are extremely transparent with our clients. Here's all the links. You can freely go in and have a look. We urge you to, because if you start to see that all of those websites have articles about everything in their dog on the homepage, it looks like someone has just quickly slapped this together, and the majority of your links look like that, that is a big ding ding red flag for me personally. So I think worth having some serious conversations if that is the case.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
DM me directly if you want to know the name of that agency. if you are with them already, and you can make some decisions.
To add on to that, you know, obviously SEO is a skill and a craft like you build over time. Like you have your 18 plus years of experience and you're setting your mark on this agency. You're ensuring that we're doing the best practices for sustainable SEO. Mm-hmm. You have been burnt by SEO in the past as well, mm-hmm. and learned the hard way. Yep. So now when we are where we are today, we are implementing the best practices, ensuring that we are working with Google and not doing any black hat, quick mm-hmm. and dirty tricks. So when you look at an agency, ensure that you have someone that knows what they're doing at the top and not just like a sales guy that wants to make money, because that is not going to be good in the long term.
100%. What we always like to do, and what we've always done with our own brands and our own websites, is to build that solid foundation. If you're building that solid foundation of links, the correct architecture, You're not using AI content that's just straight out the bat. Everything like that. You're building that solid foundation. That website is going to last for years to come. And every business owner that we speak to wants to exit at some point. And you can't exit a business that is built on shoddy foundations. It's built on sand, essentially. We want something that's built on concrete, that's going to last for years after you've exited out of that asset. So that is hugely, hugely important, which is exactly what we focus on. Sustainable rankings over a quick rank and bank and drop and you've lost everything.
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap up, I do want to share some actionable advice for people listening to this podcast. So what are some things a business can consider, review on their website and implement today already? So what are some guidance?
Yeah, a big thing that we see and a big part of the work that we have to do right away on existing client sites who haven't really had this set up is, I think you mentioned it earlier, Olivia, where they have a product and collection pages that are not really well thought out. They're not specific to any kind of keyword, and they're just kind of chucked in, made up, and hope for the best. And they wonder why the page isn't ranking. So for product pages, what we urge clients to do is grab a Google Sheet, grab all the URLs of each of your products, list out the current title of each of the products, have a new column that is empty, that is going to be the new product title that you're going to suggest. And then the final column, you can then write in specific things that relate to that product. That might be, it's a black romper dress, right, with a very specific gold button on, as an example, right? So you're typing in a combination of those things together. And once you've filled that out for all the different products, you can then review, okay, here's our existing title. Is this super unoptimized for certain keywords? What other unique things about this product in terms of keywords could we merge in to that title? And then you can come up with a better version of that title. So instead of just naming the product as, you know, whatever you've come up with, you can get quite creative where you can weave in certain keywords into that title to then make that product more optimized for those certain keywords. That you'll then find will result in more organic search traffic in the long term.
Yeah.
So that is a huge thing that you can do. Again, same thing for collection pages. Working out, okay, what keywords are related to all of these things? Because what we find is people search for multiple things, but they mean the same product. So if you can work out the other search terms that customers might use to search to find those subset of products, you can then create separate collection pages that target each of those search terms separately.
Yeah.
And the way that you can find out is if it should be a separate search term or if it should be merged together is simply doing a Google search. So if you find that the search term, it basically comes up with the exact same stuff for both of them, as in the titles don't change. If people don't have separate pages for those individual keywords, the likelihood is that Google sees them as so semantically similar that it just merges them into one, essentially. So if you can see that people have monograms and they have signs as two separate things, you can then create two separate pages on those. And really that's the level of detail that you have to go into to be able to expand the digital footprint so you can get so much more organic search traffic for the same products without having to create new products. Hugely important.
And also a quick tip is to look at your customer reviews. What words are the customers using about your products? Because you might be very set on like, okay, this is the actual product name, this is what we call it, this is the title, but what are actually the customers saying? There are so many synonyms and variations of different names and product names that you should also consider, which is what you went into a little bit. There's different names you can put on it, different ways to phrase around the product. So that is absolutely super important to consider when you set up your pages.
Absolutely.
Cool. So the titles then are very important, low-hanging fruit. A lot of clients have this issue when they come in, they have not optimized the titles. And going back to why doing that, so Google reads your page, right? They go in and reads the text on the page to understand what it is about. And titles are one of the most important elements on your page that tells Google, hey, this is what it is about. So that's why it's super, super important. If you have a product, have the product name in there. If it's a dress or a romper, like you said, ensure to have that in the title as well. So it just doesn't have like a fancy, fluffy name for it, because Google doesn't know if it's a dress then or not.
Yeah, the more specific you can be with it. One of the first things that Google looks at is the URL structure. Super, super important. If you can get a keyword in there, definitely do it. One of the next things is then the SEO title and also the H1, the main title on the page. The combination of all of those together, if you have completely polar opposite things in there, or if you don't have them filled out, which we have seen on some client sites, Google will just pick random stuff from the page and it will think, this must be about this, and try and rank it for something that is completely different to what you're actually trying to rank for. So by doing that exercise, you're able to really dial it in and make each page make way more sense to Google and to a customer before they actually go in and click into your product.
Yes, perfect. And to wrap things up, what are some common misconceptions around SEO that you just want to pinpoint before we end?
Yeah, that SEO is all on page. That's a big thing that we get. So clients come in and say, yeah, I've done SEO. I've installed a Shopify app. What else can you do? And while a Shopify app may help with parts of your SEO, potentially, there is so much more to it. As we've just covered, like optimizing titles like that, no Shopify app can do, right? That takes manual thinking and understanding and keyword research and Googling to understand, okay, should this be a new page? Should this be an existing page? Should I be optimizing it for this keyword? Does that keyword need to be at the start of the title and the secondary keyword kind of in the middle? No app can do that, right? It can kind of help you out a little bit with alt text on images as an example. Definitely something that we focus on, but that next level deep, it's very far off. The other side of things is the link building, the off-site SEO. And I think that's really where a big part of the education is missing. It's big in the SEO world, but when you don't come from that space, you don't fully understand it. So I think that's really something we should lean in on one of the next podcasts, is link building and how digital PR can be huge for link building, and why and how we use digital PR for SEO specifically. Because I think there's a big misconception around digital PR that it is just a press release that you pay $99 for and it stays up for 3 months and then all of a sudden it disappears. That can be awful for SEO if you do that, because you get a huge amount of link loss after that 3-month period, which is not good by any means. The kind of level of digital PR that we're doing is on a whole nother level, where we're getting links from, as I said before, like Forbes, Martha Stewart, or all of these big publications where you guys are in communication with the actual journalist that is creating that specific story, which is hugely important. But mainly what we're after is the link.
Yes.
Because a lot of digital PR agencies, they just want the brand awareness, which is great, but we want the brand awareness and the link. It's the link, the clickable link text that goes to your website from that article that juices up your site so much. And that is what we want from every PR campaign that we run.
So then another quick tip, if you have a current PR agency that you're working with, ensure that you track and communicate with them to actually also include links from
100%.
the different publications, and that they should also communicate that with the people that they collaborate with in the media space.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it. So in the next podcast, we'll go into more of link building, digital PR, and as always, share some actionable advice as well.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So if this has been interesting to you and you would like to learn more about fully managed SEO, whether that be full-blown SEO on your e-commerce store or digital PR or wherever you want to take things, just get in contact with us. Go to DTC SEO Agency.com. We'd be more than happy to hop on a call and understand your brand and understand if SEO is a good fit and work out what the potential ROI would look like.